Hello, and welcome to Tea and Cornbread, a conversation with Sean and Tracy. I am Sean.
And I'm Tracy.
And we are talking to you all that are 50 and fabulous.
And don't forget handsome.
And we want you to know that we want to get some education happening, some empowerment.
We want to grow with you. We want to learn with you. We want to see what you're doing, 50 and over.
So like, share, comment, follow, subscribe,
grab your
tea. Hey, everybody. It is Tea and Cornbread. You're 50 now. What? Hey, my sister Tracy. I'm your host, Sean.
Hey, Sean. And I'm Tracy.
And we are so excited about this conversation. We've been waiting for this conversation. We always talk about how people are fabulous. We want to just always introduce people that are fabulous. And for those that are out there, you may already know who this wonderful woman is. She is my sister. And we've known each other for more than 25 years. I'm so excited about the things that you're doing and the things that you do. And so we bounce off each other. So, me and Tracy ask you some questions. This is just shop talk. All right. But I want to start with, I've known you for more than 25 years, right? And so I remember when you started Workplace for Success. I remember when you started that, right? And then I went onto your website and you have these 3 words on there. It's courage, vision, and value, right? Yeah. And so when we think about who you are now, and when you turn 50 and the things that you've done since you've been 50, and you said you're 54 now, right? And the things that you've done, we know you're a CEO. We know you're an author. We know you're an executive coach. We know you're a keynote speaker and influence advisor, right? But who knows Karen, the bodybuilder?
I'm just getting to know her too, trust me.
Right up my alley, alley. Not bodybuilder, but I love the gym, so I'm all
yes. And so that's what we want to talk about. We want to talk about, yes, Karen is huge in the speaking world, right? Out there doing her thing. But I don't know if anybody knows that you've been doing this bodybuilding thing. And I remember years ago when you started, going to Boston for training for different things, right? And then when you did this again, I'm like, what? Because we think we're too old for certain things, right? When you turn 50, you feel like you're over the hill, blah, 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 right? And this is another reason why we created Tea and Cornbread, having these conversations with people that are fabulous over 50. So tell us about yourself, Miss Karen.
So you asked about Karen Hines, the bodybuilder. So that has been a bucket list of mine for over 15 years, I would say. And it finally came to reality last October. And I remember back in, I think it was 2007, 2008. I remember it was a little bit after that. I wanted to enter a bodybuilding competition. And my son was pretty young at the time. And it was very difficult to juggle motherhood and being a wife at the time. I was married and running a business. I mean, it was just a bit much. But I started the process and I abandoned it because I couldn't keep it all together. It was just falling apart. It was a hot mess, to be quite honest with you. But I never gave up. And, the weight I'd lost in preparation for the first attempt, I gained it all back and then some because, as I got older, you realize you start gaining a couple of pounds each year and you're like, the first few is not so bad. Then you gain a few more and you gain a few more. And I remember one day I in the mirror, I'm going, who is she? Where did she come from? I don't know if I like her. I mean, wait. Quite frankly, what prompted me to do it try again a second time, I was walking, I was out for a morning walk. And you know how you see your silhouette in the morning, against, walking by a fence.
Yeah.
And I look kind of backwards. My front look at my back and my back look at my front. I'm going, oh wait, this is I gotta change something here. It was all front and no back. I said, So during the pandemic, I remember taking a picture of myself, and right before the pandemic, so pandemic hit in March, I took the picture in February. It was my last public speaking gig, and I did not like what I saw. I just did not like what I saw. I wasn't ugly. I was still fine as wine, but it
Yeah.
wasn't the best version of myself. I had allowed myself through a number of stressful life situations, including my personal life, to just let myself go, to be quite honest with you. And about 2 years ago, I said, you know what, enough. And I called the coach up I've been watching for a number of years and say, I'm going to lose some weight. I lost the weight with him. And after the first year of working with him, I called him up. I said, I want to enter a bodybuilding competition. And he thought I was joking. He kind of laughed at me, to be quite honest with you. And I said, I'm going to prove you wrong, you little snot nose self. And him and I, we have a great relationship because he found it. I wouldn't even follow the regular recommendations. So for him, why would I follow any bodybuilding protocol when I wouldn't even follow the basic things he was requiring of me? So he kept saying, something's off here. You're not doing the basic. Why would you do the extreme? I did. And last October, I had about 17 of my friends who came in from across the country to support me as I walked across the stage in this teensy weensy bikini, showing every body part. And no, was my body extremely perfect? It wasn't perfection, but it was that I lost the weight. I had muscle definition, and I looked at myself and I said, now you are the best version and the blessed version of yourself, because God did not put me here to destroy this temple. So if he gave me this temple, I have to honor it. So walking across that stage, but putting on my clothes, when I walk across the stage, I don't have to worry about, am I sucking in parts? Is parts hanging out that shouldn't be? I'm not preoccupied with that. I'm walking on that stage to impact my audience and deliver a message without anything of a distraction about my body image. So that's why I did it. Now, everybody has their own reason. That's their business. This was my journey, and I'm sharing it with you.
Oh, man.
That's so awesome. Oh my, I have so many questions. I really do. Because you just said, you kind of answered one of them already, but it wasn't enough when you were just going to the gym, working out with your trainer, and then you decided to amp it up a step. But why bodybuilding? Like, why wasn't you losing weight, getting on that regimen, staying in that path? What was it about bodybuilding that you said, this is what I want to do and I'm going to make it work? That's awesome. I'm just like, I'm giddy because, wow.
So let's clarify, it's an amateur competition. So I'm not a professional bodybuilder. So it's an amateur competition, beginner level. But for me, why not? I am a person who loves adventure. I'm a daredevil. I'm the person who would jump off cliffs into the ocean. I'm the one who would do all the adventure type. Since moving to Florida, I'm into kayaking and stand-up paddleboarding. I'm an active person. So for me, I like to have goals. I'm driven by goals, and I like to compete with myself. I'm not competing with anybody. I'm competing with myself. So I know what it was like to achieve the goals in my professional life. I wanted to become an author. And for me, the bodybuilding piece, I grew up with a body image problem, by the way. I was a fat kid when I was growing up. And I never quite understood why I didn't treat myself well in this area. Why was it I could be a consummate CEO? Why was it I could be having this phenomenal prayer life and working well in my spiritual endeavors? I was phenomenal at all the other areas of my life, but for some reason, when it came to my body, I didn't put the same level of emphasis and enthusiasm and commitment, and I couldn't understand why. So for me, it was about proving to myself that if I put my mind to something, especially since when I was growing up, I was always told I was smart, but I never understood, I was never recognized for anything else but being smart. And for me, I was never an athlete, so I didn't know what it was like, but I wanted to try something out of my comfort zone. So I can't be all book smart. I have a body, I can chisel it and move it, but it really wasn't about the competition or putting on the bikini and walking across stage. It was about a mental toughness that I realized I had. It was about making sure that I know that the competition was more a mental journey and a journey of accountability and discipline more so than the physical appearance. Now, don't grab me. I end up with a banging body. And I'm not saying I'm 53, I'm thinking, girl, you are fine looking. But that became unimportant because what I gained was a mental clarity and an accountability to someone else, and learning how to trust someone else with your success, and learning how to commit and persevere when it's raining outside, but you have to do your 4-mile walk. Or you go to a family function and you see that nice curry goat and those barbecue ribs, and about self-control. So it becomes a journey that goes beyond the physical body and brings about a change that is more mental, that's emotional than the physical transformation. By the time I got across the stage, I was like, yeah, that body is nice, but I was celebrating the victory that I had in my mind more so than the physical body. Now, I love the physical body, but the mind transformation was much more valuable to me than the physical transformation.
Awesome.
It really is. It really is. Go ahead.
So I'm glad that you said that, right? Because that goes along with your courage. You had to have the courage to even do this again. It was always on your list, your bucket list, and you're always, driven by goals. And then the vision, right? You had the vision to do it. And then the value of it is that mental clarity, that self-esteem boost, right? To a certain extent. Because like you said, every other part of your life was going well. But this part you've had an issue with from a young age, you know what I mean? And so here you are, 50 and fabulous, right? And you have accomplished that thing that you never scratched off your list, And so speak a little bit more about how a person that person that's looking at this episode, right? That person that feels that they're overweight, I'm too old to do this, or I'm too old to, to lose weight. I'm never going to get back into size, whatever it was when they were a teenager or when they were just 10 years ago, because people gain weight so much faster than we did when we were younger, right? And so talk to that person and say, just think about that one thing. What courage, like to have the courage to say, you know what, I want to look better. I want to feel better.
The common thread between bodybuilding, the professional work that I do developing leaders for corporations, it's about, I exist to spark transformation. And for the person who's listening, my question to you is, are you ready to spark a transformation in your life? It's a simple question. We often get tied down with being perfect in the process. My process was not perfect. It was one of these numbers, back, forth. So for that person who's watching now, one, are you ready to say verbally, I'm ready to spark a transformation in my life? Number two, that it doesn't matter what age you are, the transformation needs to come first mentally before you see anything happening physically. And it doesn't matter if I'm developing leaders, helping companies work through very difficult situations, or in this case, bodybuilding, it's the same process. It's about how do we help people recognize they have the power to think and they have the power to transform their lives for the good, personally, professionally, financially, spiritually, health-wise, whatever it is. And that it means, just like how I had to step away from the cheesecake and the Jamaican rum cakes and the barbecues and the fried this and you list, we all need to step away from the things that no longer serve us.
Service. Exactly.
It no longer serves you.
Yes.
So in leadership, you need to step away from the habits that hinder your ability to grow your team and to prepare you as a leader. In health, you just step away from the food and the habits that stress you out and it makes your body toxic. In the physical realm, it's about making sure you step away from the couch and the bed and you get out there walking. In finance, it's about stepping away from the overspending and stepping away from the things that bleed you financially. sparking any kind of transformation means that you need to step away and step into the greatness that you were born for. People want to step into their greatness, but take with them all the baggage they've had. And you can't do that.
It's hard. It's hard to let go. And it doesn't happen overnight. People, there's one of the things that I say all the time to clients is it takes one day, 1 hour, 1 minute at a time to make a change. And when you decide what that change is, that's all you need to do is take it one day at a time. We say that, right? Everyone says that, but they don't believe
we don't always do it.
Exactly. They don't believe in it. And yes, you're going to have the peaks and the valleys, the peaks and the valleys, the peaks and the valleys. You may have more valleys than peaks, but at the end, you'll get to that peak, because like you said, it is a mental transformation first. Your mind has to you have to want it. And when you decide that you want it, then it's a matter of, okay, now what do I do?
But even when you decide you want it, people have to remember the cycle of change. I was talking to my coach this weekend about, just the process of change. And we talked about that. When you enter, you're excited when you start something new and you have this phenomenal peak and you're happy. And then, you descend into the trough of disillusion, and then you kind of go back up on plateau. We often get excited when January 1st, people get excited. Yay, I'm starting a new diet. Come February, whoa, they start sinking. If you're not careful, you could stay there, but you got to decide you want to come out of that dark, deep place and keep on climbing. And it's going to be like this for a while until you realize I'm not where I was. So, this past week, I had some girlfriends. I held a retreat at my house, and we had about 5 women flying from across the country. And we spent a week looking at how do they begin to transform themselves from the inside out. And I know I gained some weight because what did I do? I kept eating all the fun stuff. They made enchiladas. They made all kinds of good stuff. They made trifongo. I enjoyed myself. If I had eaten one meal, it would have been fine. But when you start chipping away at it all week, I got back on the scale. I'm going, But I know how to fix that. The same way it took each day last week to put on those extra pounds. This week, I start back again, day by day by day by day. It's the small habits. My friend says, when you do the small things well, the big things become easy. So I did the small decisions well. So this morning, you better make sure I got back on my regular schedule program. No more fatty foods and sugar and all the cakes I had. It was good. But you also have to recognize that life, you cannot just leave all the enjoyment out of life. I love cakes. I enjoy that. But I'm not going to deny myself. But it's moderation.
In moderation.
It definitely is. And I think too, I love that you're saying that you have peak and you have valleys, because people see the end result and they always think, oh, you're there. Like that wasn't that bad, but you have to go through some stuff to get through some stuff. So how do you stay focused? Now, I go to the gym every day, and I've talked about this with Sean, and I'm no size 8, but I'm okay with that because I'm comfortable with who I am and how I look. Now, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it may have been a different story. I wanted to be a size 8, but I'm over 50 now, and I'm enjoying who I am in my skin. How do you stay focused? You just talked about how you were with your girlfriends for a week, and you guys were focused and enjoying, your time together, as you should. And that's another thing we need to let people know. Reward yourself, but get back on track. How do you stay focused when you feel like you're not staying on track?
I have a number of ways. So again, the first place I go to is my faith. Everything that I do in my life revolves around my faith in God. Other people can choose whatever they like, whatever works best for them. But I said, me and God have a love thing going on, and He holds me down. But that's one pillar. The second thing that I have is I have a community of women who are committed to ensuring that each of us who we're in community with, first of all, we do life together. That means asking me and keeping me accountable to the goals that I set. So I have a personal assessment that I do for myself. How did this week go? And then I have accountability partners who I have to report to and say, here's what I commit to doing, and here's what I've done. And there's an honesty and transparency that is painful to that process. So I'm accountable to other people besides me. I don't trust me 100%. So I have my faith, I have my girlfriends, I have my personal assessment, but I'm also a very competitive person with myself. I like to beat my last record. So, but there are days, I know there are days, many days when I was preparing for the competition where I went into the gym and I'm thinking, I just need to know I got here. Let me spend 5-10 minutes and then go home because it was not working. I mean, it was just not happening. And before I injure myself, I'm thinking, go home. But I had to stay in the habit of getting up and getting out the house so I don't stay in the bed. So I work out in the morning. I make sure I get to the gym to the morning. Each workout doesn't look like it's a great session. Some sessions like, ooh, why did you bother getting out of the bed? You should have just stayed home. But I want to be consistent in my habits and make sure I show up. So accountability, my faith, my own personal sense of accountability for me. And plus it's fun. I mean, I like the gym. It's fun for me.
Yeah. Awesome. So the other thing that I love in what you're saying is that you also make sure that you celebrate, right? Celebrating your wins, and that's one thing that people feel, and I'm finding this with some people, that if they celebrate their wins, it's like they're being conceited or they're being boastful or, or whatever that is, right? Or they feel like it's a selfish thing. When the more I get, the older I get, I just turned 56. So the older I get, I go, no, this feels good. And yes, and I did that, you know what I mean? And I feel good about it, right? What do you say to those people that are like, listen, yes, celebrate your wins, no matter how big or small they are. Celebrate those wins, especially when you have a goal and like you said, you're creating a habit, right? And there's the science of creating a habit. It takes 21 days, 66 days, and 254 days, where people think in 21 days, if they don't get it, then they just stop, right? And at 66 days, it's just becoming a habit. And then the 254 days is when it's like, oh, okay, yeah, this is part of my life now. This is part of what I do. You know what I mean? And being able to get yourself up. Like Tracy, I envy her because Tracy goes to that gym. And if we are planning anything and it's during her gym time, she's like, nope, I can't go because I'm going, and me, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to the gym. I'm not. I'm going to do my little leg stretches. I'm going to do some yoga. I'm going to breathe. You know what I mean? But the gym to me is just not a place I want to be, right? But at the same time, though, I still move, and things like that. So what do you say to those people out here that are like, yeah, I did it, but we always have that but, right? Instead of just saying, you know what? I got up this morning. Thank you, Jesus. I got up. I went to the gym. I didn't get on the treadmill because I didn't feel like it, but I got up and I went to the gym.
Yeah. We are very hard on ourselves.
Yes.
We will quickly look for external validation before we look for internal
validation. Yes.
We will quicker extend grace to other people before we extend grace to ourselves. We will quicker forgive others than forgive ourselves. In this process of becoming the best and most blessed version of myself every day, I had to learn how to extend grace to myself. I had to learn how to celebrate me and not wait for permission from anybody else. And when I tell people about my accomplishments, I do not look at it as boasting. I'm simply educating you, because if I don't educate you, you will not know what I've done. Right. So people say, well, why are you boasting? I'm not boasting. If I don't speak for me, who will speak for me?
Who else will? Right.
And then we wait for other people to tap us on our shoulder and hope they come and congratulate us. And then we put ourselves in this mental spiral where we are complaining that we don't feel valued and we feel like frauds, when really and truly it was a lack of your own self-validation and waiting for people to validate you who haven't even learned how to validate themselves.
Yeah.
So I encourage people, as I've learned, to renew their minds daily and encourage themselves and be proud of themselves and pat themselves on the back and remind yourself that you are worthy. So regardless of what's going on around you, that you take the time to take care of you. Because when you do that, you then educate people about how to treat you. But if you don't value you, you think I'm going to value you?
Right.
I can't, because
Right.
I don't see that
Right.
reflected in you. And we expect people to think we're the best when you think you're the worst.
Right.
So when I walk into a room now, at 53, I'll be 54 this year, I don't wait for validation. I belong in that room. I walk into that room and I know that the air that I breathe belongs to me. I walk into that room knowing that every minute of my day from the last 53 years was building up for me being in that room. I don't wait for people with low self-esteem to validate me. I validate me. I'm a child of God. It is about where I need to go and the assignment of my life. I cannot wait for somebody to give me approval to do what I was born to do. For a lot of people,
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Say that again.
Which
I
part?
cannot wait. I know. I can't wait for nobody to validate me for what I was born to do. You got to say that loud, right?
I
Because
cannot
people,
wait.
yes, yes.
You're because we keep waiting for somebody to give us permission. You were already given permission by virtue of your birth. That's all you needed.
That's it.
Yes.
That's
Born. That
That's
means you have a unique assignment on your life. And boy, it's taken me a while to get here because I was stuck trying to figure out, well, I don't know if I know, and I don't know, and I'm waiting for this person, and I don't fit in here. And then over the years of just having my mentor drill into me, we did this challenge where we read the Bible cover to cover like it's a storybook and realized it's the best reality show ever. So while we're reading through it, I realized, but wait, I was already born to do what I'm doing. So why do I need the CEO of some company to tell me I'm worthy? Right? He don't even know if he's worthy, or she don't even know they're worthy. I am. So therefore, I exist because there's a purpose for me to be here. And it is upon me to make sure I live my purpose so other people get permission to live theirs. Sean, if you don't do well in this path, nobody will, the people who are benefiting from you right now will be lost. So you have to walk your purpose because somebody else's freedom and victory and goals are depending on you. Stop waiting for people who are broken to give you permission to be great. Step boldly into the greatness God has given you.
Got to say it again. Stop waiting for people that are broken. There's just so many nuggets that, sometimes you go too fast and people miss it. So, for me, that's just stop waiting for people that are broken to give you permission to walk in your purpose. Yes. Yes.
I had to write that down. So hold on.
Yeah. Listen. Yes. Oh my goodness. This is, and I appreciate you, because there's been many times you and I have sat down and, had a little powwow. And Tracy and I, same thing. And like you said, when you said you have that circle, you have those accountability people in your life, I have the same, and we have the same, and we don't utilize it to our full potential. So but after this conversation,
right.
But let me tell you something about those accountability people. I change them. I change them often. So if you and I were accountability partners 10 years ago, you are not in my life as my accountability partner now.
Right.
Because I'm different. Yes. It doesn't mean we stop being friends or I don't respect you. It means if I'm going from here to Maine, or I'm going from here to Alaska, and the person who was my accountability partner know how to go from here to Florida, why am I hanging out with you? We're going in the opposite directions.
Going in opposite directions.
We have to align ourselves with the people who are going in the direction that you're going to go, and allow them to accelerate your growth. And there will come a season and a time when they will no longer be needed on that leg of your journey. Exit stage left, the new character comes in who's going to take you to your next leg.